Leonora Cohen was born in Leeds, Hunslet in Leeds in 1873, and it's her early life which really informs her activism. Her father unfortunately died when he was very young at 30, so her mother throughout her life always had to work to support her sons and Leonora herself. From a very young age, she joined in with her mother in the textile work that they brought in. Having been a working woman and being the child of a working woman, what really motivated her was the plight of the working women of Leeds. Very often, women were not paid as much as men. And so for her, what getting the vote meant was the ability to have a law change for equal pay for women. In 1913, she comes down to London alongside other groups of working women to make deputations to Parliament. Her speech is said to have moved David Lloyd George, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, so much that he said to her, "I wish you could have said that on the floor of the House of Commons." And that gives Leonora great hope. Finally, we might start seeing some change here. However, the Speaker of the House of Commons comes up with a technicality so as not to include women's suffrage in their reform bills. Indeed, 3 days after that, they drop the whole idea of parliamentary reform altogether. She's feeling pretty gutted by this point, so she decides to stay in London for a week. And in that week, she listens to the leader of the WSPU, Emmeline Pankhurst, make an impassioned speech saying, now is the time to really get active here. She takes her time and really thinks about what she wants to do. She wants to do an act that is going to get maximum coverage, but really is going to attack the establishment of Great Britain. And so she goes and she buys a guidebook of things to see in London. And she thinks to herself, I know what I'm going to do. There's never been a woman who's done anything like this before in the Tower of London. She makes her way to the Tower of London by tube, and she has her crowbar concealed in her coat at the time. She's so nervous, and she's sitting on the tube considering what she's about to do, that she gets to the Tower of London stop and can't bring herself to get off the tube. And so she goes around the whole tube line all over again, and then finally makes the brave step of stepping off the platform and walking towards the tower. She spots her moment when she sees a line of school children, and Leonora Cohen, by all accounts, is a very elegant woman. She's mistaken for their teacher. She sees that the yeoman warder's attention is turned away, and then she reaches inside her coat and throws the crowbar over the heads of the school children, hitting the jewel case. When you go into the Wakefield Tower, you'll realise that she has no means of escape. There's only one exit in and one exit out. So she does this very brave thing, knowing that she can't get out. Written on the crowbar is a label saying, "This is my protest against the treachery of the government against the working women of Great Britain." After her arrest, she is taken to trial where she represents herself. Remarkably, the jury rules in her favour, so she's free, and then for the rest of her life she continues her activism. Almost 5 years to the day after Leonora Cohen goes in, smashes a display case at the Tower of London, giving her the name forever of being the Tower Suffragette, women over the age of 30 with a certain amount of property had the vote for the first time. It opens the gateway for women to have the vote. The significance of the vote is it's not the act of putting a piece of paper in a ballot box and voting for a party. What this does is it gives women representation and the power really to start making changes to the law which had affected them so badly. Leonora Cohen kept on fighting for women's rights throughout her entire life. She fought not only for suffrage in 1918, she fights and wins the right for all women to vote in 1928. Amazingly, she fought again in 1970, where you see the marking of the Equal Pay Act, giving men and women by law that you have to have equal pay for equal work, which is what she was fighting for right from the very start of her career in activism. I know full well, because we still have problems like a gender pay gap, that Leonora Cohen would be fighting still.